Dalvin Cook scoring a TD. Taylor Swift, Merman. What else could I be? What else could I thought I heard somebody come in, but you kind of scared me there, getting into a spooky season spirit, huh? Well, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to be for next week's Halloween party here in the shower prison. But anyways, I'll figure that out later. This is what we got for you guys today on the Degenerate Gambling Life.
Alright, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to volume 14 of the Degenerate Gambling Life. I hope you all had a great week. I got to spend it in Vegas. I was there for the When We're Young Festival. Got to see a lot of great, amazing bands. Sum 41 was fantastic to see for one of their last shows. Blink-182 did a great job. Green Day, it really was a great show. If you're there, I hope you loved it as much as I did. Also, if you have not yet, check out some of our merchandise that we have. Comment, email us, let us know. We can get this shipped out to you. So now, sit back, we'll do the homework for you, make yourself a drink, and enjoy. Here's the Degenerate Gambling Life.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Okay, let's quickly jump into a few of the things that we got right this week. First thing we got right, calling the Cleveland Browns defense is a defense that you want to pick up. Jacob kind of mentioned them earlier in one of our volumes, how that's probably a defense that you want to be streaming for the full season. And if you were lucky enough to scoop them up, you probably just want to hang on to them until, you know, the wheels fall off. But for the most part, it looks like they're going to be a legit defense that you can play and stream. And so you don't have to worry about making those waiver wire claims. So hopefully you're able to pick them up. And we came through with that defense for you. Something else was Jacob telling you early to get in on picking up Deontay Johnson. The TDs will eventually come. He's due for some major touchdown regression in the positive side. So if you got him while he was still on IR, scooped him up, he's definitely going to get the volume there. I know that there's George Pickens, but I think there's enough volume for both of them. So that's definitely a good call on Jacob's part. And finally, Kareem Hunt. Ford went down a little bit with an injury, so he might be out, but Kareem Hunt does look like he's a guy that they trust a little bit. So that was another good pickup if you were able to get him. Now, a few of the things that we got wrong, as always, we like to, you know, own both the good and the bad. Sam Howell, it seems like when we mention quarterbacks, they just tend to go, yeah, we're not going to play this week. So last week it was Russell Wilson that we said pick up because he was in the top 10, and Sam Howell was coming off, I believe it's 3 straight games with over 20 points, and he decides to lay a dud and only give you 10 points. Still better than a lot of times when the quarterbacks give you a dud, but definitely not what you're expecting from the quarterback position. And finally, the last thing that we got wrong was Ingram, running back for the Cardinals. It just really seems like the Cardinals are almost going with the hot hand approach while Connor's out. So if you own any of their backfield, you might want to just leave them on your bench until it shakes out, or let them go waiver wires or something better. I know everyone's looking for that lead back position, and you know, it just seems like with them, all you're doing is causing yourself a lot of pain by trying to guess which running back it will be until Connor comes back.
Because I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. I don't take from anyone. I smoke my stogie anywhere I want. I don't have to find a hideout place like you.
I'm Kevin Miller, and this is Week 7's Studs and Duds. I'm going to jump right in as usual. At the quarterback position, we have our top scoring player of the week. 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Who was it? That's right, none other than the modern day GOAT, Patrick Mahomes, with 42 fantasy points. Top scorer of the week. Week 7's Stud of the Week, Patrick Mahomes, 42 points. And nipping at his heels, Lamar Jackson with a 40-bagger of his own. Gardner Minshew did top 30 points. I'll give him an honorable mention to the Gardner. At the running back position, we had Deonta Foreman with 150 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 33 fantasy points. He's our top running back scorer of the week. Alvin Kamara with 29 points, and Jahmyr Gibbs with 28 points, closely following him. It's nice to see Jahmyr Gibbs finally have a startable fantasy week. Hopefully you didn't bench him. I'm guessing everyone that had him played him with Montgomery being out. Well done. Keep throwing him in there and see what happens. At the wide receiver position, we had our Sunday night football game. The Dolphins and the Eagles provide us our top 2 wide receiver scores of the week. A.J. Brown, the only wide receiver this week to top 30 points with 30 points exactly. And Tyreek Hill did manage to get 26 points, even though the Dolphins looked pretty abysmal. But then again, they were playing what I believe is the best team in the league, the Eagles. Josh Downs with 24 points. It's good to see the rookie continue to emerge. As long as Minshew's the quarterback, which I think he will be for the rest of the year, I think Pittman and Downs are both going to be every week plays. And Puka Nacua stays hot with 23 points. Not even Cooper Kupp can stop this train. Hashtag Hookah! Alright, on to tight end. We had Travis Kelce, Travis Kelce with 36 points this week. A major outing by Travis Kelce. He is already up to tight end 1. I wouldn't expect him to do anything less moving forward, really. 20-30 points a week from Travis Kelce moving forward. We did have Darren Waller with 23 points and Mark Andrews with 22 points. So you're starting to see a trend at this tight end position. Every week you're getting the top guys of ADP. Kelce, Andrews, Hawkinson, Waller, Goddard. Those guys are finishing 1, 2, 3 almost every single week. So I do think that it was a big advantage to nab up one of those tight ends early in your draft. And we're seeing through 7 weeks that it's probably paying off big time. At the kicker, we had Dustin Hopkins with 24 points. If he's still out there, go pick him up. Sorry for the waiver wire spoiler. And Ravens defense did top 20 points. Those are your studs of the week. And now, the least favorite 2 minutes of my week. The duds of week 7. I'll jump right in. Let's not waste time. At quarterback, we had Jared Goff with only 9 points. Tua Tagovailoa with only 12 points, and up until now, the number 1 quarterback, Justin Herbert, with only 13 points. These are higher point totals than we're used to in the dud column at quarterback, but most of the quarterbacks you would have started put up a respectable score this week. So 9 to 13 points for those 3 was our duds at quarterback. At the running back position, I'm not feeling too well. Bijan, I ate too much mustard, son. 0 points from Bijan. Shame on you. I don't care how not well you're feeling. You should have been ruled out prior if you were having any type of symptoms. Not fair to us fantasy managers, but you know, you're just gonna have to keep starting him. Don't sit him next week. It's not his fault that, you know, he didn't get ruled out. But I personally had Bijan in 6 out of my 16 redraft and dynasty leagues, so it hurt getting a 0 across those leagues this week. But I'll still be plugging him in every week the rest of the way. Jeff Wilson with only 1 point. You thought you might get a good performance out of him, but no, you did not. Josh Jacobs, big name, only 5 points. Austin Eckler, bigger name, only 6 points. And our RB2 on the season, Raheem Mostert, with only 6 points. The Dolphins could not get anything going on the ground against the Eagles. At wide receiver, a familiar face, Calvin Ridley leads our wide receiver duds with only 2 points. And I'm going to name him the dud of the week since he's on this list almost every week. Gabe Davis also only putting up 2 points, and Amari Cooper with 4 points. Cooper Kupp, you are making the dud list. I'm sorry, but 7 points is not going to cut it. I'm expecting 10 catches for 100 yards every week out of you that you're healthy. So if you're not breaking 10 to 15, you're dudding it up, my friend. Let's bounce back next week and drop 25. At tight end, if you had to start these guys, sorry to hear that. Sucks to be you, but you should have drafted an early tight end. Tyler Higbee, only 2 points. Michael Mayer, only 3 points. After the nice week in week 6, he falls back down to earth. And Dawson Knox with only 4 points. And now he's injured and gonna need surgery. Those are your duds of the week.
10. 10 ought to do it, don't you think? You think we need one more? You think we need one more? All right, we'll get one more.
What's up, guys? My name is Jacob Listowski with the Degenerate Gambling Life, and on this week's episode, I'm going to be discussing the best waiver wire pickups for Week 8. At QB, I like Gardner Minshew. He exploded this week for over 30 fantasy points against the Browns, who had only been giving up 121 passing yards coming into the game. He's a gunslinger who will put up touchdowns and turnovers, and is definitely worth a look if you're in the market for a QB. Derek Carr is coming off back-to-back 20 fantasy point games and has 3+ matchups in a row. You can definitely do worse than Carr at QB. Also keep Kyler Murray in mind, who could return this week. Murray is a guy who could help you here in the crunch time of the fantasy football season, and he should be rostered in all formats going forward. At wide receiver, Josh Downs is the #1 guy to add, and probably the #1 priority you should have on all of the waiver wire this week. He has a great connection with Minshew and saw 6 targets this week, which he converted to 5 catches for 125 yards and a touchdown. He scored double-digit fantasy points in 3 straight games and needs to be added in all formats. Juwan Jennings looked pretty good tonight for the 49ers, catching 5 balls on 9 targets. Theo Samuel will be out for 1 more week, so I like Jennings as a streaming option for next week as well, especially in PPR formats. Kendrick Bourne has had back-to-back 15+ point games for the Patriots. He's averaged 9 targets per game over the last 2 weeks and looks to be the top passing option in that New England offense. He's definitely worth a look if you need some help at the wide receiver and flex positions. At running back, Cam Akers is a good option. He's available in 51% of leagues, and his role continues to increase with the Vikings. He could become valuable as the playoffs come into view, and his receiving ability gives him added boost in PPR formats. Royce Freeman is another good option at running back, who filled in for Kyron Williams well this week and looks like he could see some good volume over the next 3 weeks. He handled 12 carries for 66 yards in a loss to the Steelers. Also keep Devin Singletary in mind, who could emerge as the Texans' #1 running back coming out of the bye. He's a solid guy to stash away on the bench going forward, especially if you need help at the running back position. At tight end, it's that time of the year where the top option is Taysom Hill. He's getting good opportunities as a runner at the goal line, and he's had double-digit fantasy points in back-to-back weeks. He's got 3 straight plus matchups coming up, and he's definitely a startable tight end going forward. Also, Dalton Kincaid is coming off a 75-yard game where he converted all 8 of his targets into catches. He looks like a solid option. Also, keep Dalton Schultz in mind, who has scored in 3 straight games, and he's still available in 43% of games.
It's time for our Never Let Go segment. These are the players that's just tearing us up inside that we gotta say goodbye to you. Here's who we're letting go this week.
Come back! Come back! I'll never let go. I promise.
My player I never want to let go, but I'm having to say goodbye to, is you, Jerry Jeudy. Last year, you helped win a lot of people some fantasy championships. It seemed like you and Russ were cooking, connecting, even though Russ just, wasn't that great last year, but it seemed like you were coming on strong. I drafted you pretty high, hoping that you were going to be that #1 wide receiver on Denver. But it turns out it's always been Cortland Sutton. We should have all known that. So, Jerry Jeudy, I'm letting you go.
Deshaun, you looked promising at the beginning of the season, man. But you just haven't been getting it done. So I gotta let you go.
Another 7 days. Dalvin Cook not scoring a touchdown. I don't know what's wrong with that guy. I'm glad I dropped him weeks ago. Now we gotta drop somebody else. And it pains me to say, because I kind of saw this coming at the beginning of the season, but Jamal Williams, you couldn't even fill in the 4 weeks that Kamara was gonna be out, man. And now Kamara's back and you just chopped liver. You did nothing for me this year, nothing. I know you got injured, but no excuses here. I'm dropping you. That was a fake cry, because I don't care that I'm dropping you. You're done. Finito. Adios.
Jahan Dotson. Last call at the bar was in week 5, my guy, but somehow you managed to slip a drink or two and make it through to week 7. For those of you that got hurt by Jahan Dotson, let's all do ourselves a favor and hit that drop button at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Drop. Bye-bye, Dotson. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Cannonball!
Okay, it's that time where I try to help you pick some fantasy defenses, and hopefully they can help you win this week, or at least just not do terrible for you. So the first defense I have is the Ravens. This is probably going to be a last call for them. They almost seem like they're starting to be a team you can just stream every single week no matter who they're playing. This week they have the Cardinals, so if you can, definitely pick up that Ravens defense. Next defense, consider is the Falcons. They're a young defense, but they're coming on strong all season. I know they've let a couple of duds, but it is against the Titans, who are just falling apart. They're a terrible team. So if you need another defense, look again the Falcons defense. And finally this week I only have 3. The last one's going to be the Texans versus the Panthers. The battle of the number 1 versus number 2 overall picks. It seems like the Texans are the better team, and their defense definitely has been showing it. So that's a defense that you should be able to pick up. And, you know, again, this is probably close to the desperation one, but Houston, they've kind of shown up and had some good weeks. So I would put them in there and feel pretty good if you are needing a defense. Now, let's pivot over a little bit to fantasy basketball. So you should be drafting. It's right before the season starts, and there's 2 players I want to talk about this week. All right, they both are coming off of injury years, and that kind of helps them to slide. And again, like I talked about last week, we're looking for value. So the first one is going to be Cade Cunningham, Detroit Pistons. He had a very small sample size, but in the few games he did play, he averaged 19.9 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 6 assists. Just filling up the stat sheet like that, that's definitely a player you can use. I was able to snap him up in a few different leagues in the 5th round. I think the 4th round is where you should be looking at him, but if somehow he's there later, definitely want to grab him. Second player of note is Chet Holmgren, Oklahoma City Thunder. That is a young, exciting team. It's one of those that if you can get a piece of them, especially if it's one of the starters, you definitely want to look at it. He was the number 1 recruit coming out. A lot of people thought he was going to be the number 1 pick, and he ended up sliding number 2 to Oklahoma City. He's 7'1". He's going to be a center. He also give you blocks, and in his last season in college, he's shot 39% from 3-point range, so he'll give you a little bit of everything and help you. So those are 2 players that if you're looking to find value and help improve your fantasy basketball team while you're drafting, those are 2 players that definitely can help you.
I didn't think I'd ever need to tell you this, but I would be a bad parent if I didn't. Soccer was invented by European ladies to keep them busy while their husbands did the cooking.
Why do you have to hate what you don't understand?
I don't hate you, Bobby.
I meant soccer.
Oh, yeah, I hate soccer, yes.
This is the Degenerate Gambling Life's Added Minutes, and as always, I'm Jordan Tennis. We had an Italian-American affair in Serie A this weekend, which saw 4 U.S. national team members take place in that one when Juventus traveled to AC Milan. Starting for AC Milan was Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musa, while Weston McKennie and Timothy Weah were in the starting XI for the visitors from Turin. The game was going good. Just before halftime, Moise Kean knocked one around Malik Chow, forcing the Milan defender to essentially tackle the attacker to the ground, thus receiving a straight red card for the last man foul. Now, with AC Milan playing down a player for the rest of the game, you knew it was going to be tough, but they were playing well. They took the man advantage, Juventus did, I should say, took the man advantage into the second half and finally broke through in the 63rd minute with a little bit of luck. But as they say, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. We saw a long-range effort from Locatelli deflect off an AC Milan defender and go past the Milan keeper. Nothing the keeper could do about it. He was caught off guard. The goal would prove to be enough for all 3 points, as Juventus currently sit third, 1 point behind AC Milan and 2 points behind league leaders Inter Milan. Now back to the US. MLS playoffs are set. FC Cincinnati and St. Louis are your top seeds on their respective sides of the bracket. Wildcard games are going to take place on October 25th, as we'll see San Jose travel to Kansas City and Charlotte will be at New York Red Bulls, who actually play in New Jersey. But I guess a lot of other pro teams from New York play in New Jersey, so it is what it is. The tournament format's a bit odd. Outside of the wildcard games, the first round, it'll be best of 3 series, which doesn't really happen anywhere else in the world in soccer, so it is what it is. It's kind of strange seeing as the rest of the tournament is all going to be single elimination after that, but got to ask yourself why, and because this is America, that's why. Essentially, it's just a money grab. So we'll give you a quick rundown of the Premier League. Liverpool won the Merseyside Derby 2-0 against Everton thanks to a Mo Salah brace. We saw City go up into first place. Tottenham hasn't played yet as the time of this recording. They do have the opportunity to go into first, so they could make the jump by the time this comes out. But City dispatched Brighton 2-1. Haaland continues to score, and it is getting boring seeing his name on the score sheet week after week after week. In other news, Chelsea absolutely choked. They choked away a 2-goal lead to Arsenal, and this just kills me. If you would ask me before the game, would I have taken a draw against Arsenal? Absolutely. But once being 2-0 up, you kind of expect them to see the game out. And the game was going good until Robert Sanchez, Chelsea's goalkeeper, tried to play one out of the back, completely missed his target, and the ball landed to none other than ex-West Ham ace. I know you guys have been waiting on me to talk about West Ham, Declan Rice. He dispatched the ball into pretty much open net from 30-35 yards out, gave Arsenal all the momentum they needed to get back into the game. Arsenal ended up tying it up 2-2 a little bit later through Trossard. So that one finishes 2-2. Chelsea's woes continue. And I know you thought that was going to be all the hammer talk you guys were getting today, but I wasn't going to leave you with just that. West Ham also played this weekend, and they got absolutely slapped 4-1 by Aston Villa. So that will wrap up the Premier League roundup for this week. That'll wrap up the added minutes for this week. We're looking forward to the Manchester Derby next weekend. I hope you guys have a good week.
Okay, let's jump into a poker hand that I got into in Vegas. I was playing at the South Point Casino 1-2. It's a great place to play if you've never been there. It's a little off the strip, but always has a lot of games, and it's usually one of the softer places. So I definitely recommend playing there if you have a car, get around, or if you're looking for a pretty easy game. So with this hand, I'm in the cutoff. It limps to me. I have Queen 10 of Hearts, and I raise to $11. Earn gun plus 1 calls, and the low jack calls. Now the flop comes pretty favorable. It's the 10 of spades, the 10 of clubs, the 8 of spades. It checks to me in flow, kind of what I expect, and I bet $23. I do this because I would do it with C-bets here, any sort of pocket pairs I might have, because it's one of those boards that a lot of times people don't expect you to have a 10, and so I did it for a little bit of deception. And now whenever I do that, the earn gun plus 1, they call, and the low jack folds. The turn is the 8 of hearts. The ungun +1 checks. And now I get a little sneaky. We talked about this last time, and I'm trying to figure out how to get maximum value here. So I'm pretty sure I got the best hand here, so I check back because I don't want to tip that maybe I do have the top end of the boat. And so I think a lot of times whenever you do this, people might read you as just c-betting and that you have air. And so that's what I went with. And now on the river, the ace of hearts comes, and now the iron gun does one of the best things you can see. He leads out for $35. When it gets to me, I, think for a little bit, kind of think the player type, who is kind of a old man type regular. I don't see him having pocket aces here for sure. Ace 10 just really didn't seem like that's what he had. So I'm thinking that either he banked the ace or he just had a pocket pair. And so then I decide I'm going to raise it up, get some value if I can. So I make it $113. And immediately he starts mumbling, going, why did I bet? Trying to put the hand together. And so obviously my play worked because he had no idea. And he decided, and I think part of it's also my image at the table. I've been a little splashy, raising. I'd shown a few bluffs, one with some mediocre hands. So he gets a little stubborn and puts in the call. I show him the bad news and show him that I got the top boat. And he does flash an 8 for the bottom boat. And so it's one of those where I think the check definitely helped, because it seemed like I probably spiked the ace then maybe on the river or something like that. And so a lot of times you want to think how you can maximize value, and I'm pretty sure if I just blasted on the turn, that gives him a chance to get away from it. So that little bit of deception helped get me, close to max value in that position. So overall in Vegas, I had a great trip. When We're Young was great, as I said. My poker, blackjack, roulette, video poker, and playing Ultimate Hold'em, I was up over 1,400. I finished the trip up over 11. 300 of it went to trying to do some bets and parlays and different things like that. If you follow us on Instagram, you can definitely see a lot of photos. But, overall it was a great trip. I will be back there again for Super Bowl weekend with the full Degenerate Gambling Life team. So we're going to try to do a meetup game. Let us know. And if you haven't yet, please comment, the link below. Subscribe, share, follow us on Instagram, TikTok. We're also on Threads if you want some merchandise again. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.